Okay, we are live now. Let me just play the video.
Aries. Recently, I did a branding photo shoot for talent calisthenics athletes. So here I would like to share some of my thoughts about AD1200Pro on location.
We all live busy lives and may not have the luxury of going to the gym multiple times a week. But with the right spirit, you can train anywhere at any time.
A professional photography studio could be pretty expensive to rent. Lots of photographers may not afford the luxury to shoot in the big studio every week. However, with AD1200Pro, you can always create any light you want on any location. With 1200 watt output, anytime is a good time to shoot. You can shoot in the morning, during the sunset, or even in the midday. We arrived at Bondi Beach in pitch black to wait for the sunrise. 40 watts modeling lamps comes handy. We use it as a torch to help tie the rope, and more importantly, to help position the light before the golden hour.
With the rope, you can use it anytime and anywhere you go.
With the travel by air battery, you can fly the AD1200Pro anywhere you go. I like the fact the battery is separated, so that the assistant can comfortably hold the light even at an awkward angle. 1200 watt superb output supports leading your subjects anywhere, even from a distance away.
Equipment needs to be user-friendly and versatile.
The Bowen mount is compatible with a wide range of light modifiers. Interface on the battery is simple and intuitive to use. Carrying case helps the battery to be weatherproof, so that you don't have to worry about the big wave coming with the rising tide.
Point your toe towards my hands, like that. Look, look down.
You can train with just your body weight, so you don't need to bring any extra equipment.
You can easily counterbalance the light with a battery, even with large modifiers.
Look down.
Running at high-intensity intervals allows you to burn more fat in a short amount of time.
Fast recycling helps you to nail more shots in a short amount of time.
1, 2, 3, go.
Running sets you free from the constraints of the gym, so you can focus on training even if you're on a tight schedule.
TTL function sets you free from worrying about the power output, and it helps you to meet busy timelines by focusing on capturing the moment. High-speed sync gives you peace of mind so that you know your AD1200Pro works with any shutter speed up to 1 out of 8,000 seconds. .1200 watts overpowers the ambient light easily, so that your creative vision can be achieved on any location.
This one is stable, this one is not. But this one you can really hold it.
With more strength, you have the ability to reach new heights.
With more power, you get the freedom to lead the subject in a new way. The sun is sitting behind the rock during the winter, but no worries. I can place my own sun anywhere with a standard reflector. Lead the rock as well as the model. With the octabox and the gridiron, I can still easily lead my subject about 3 meters away. I have been shooting from sunrise to sunset with one single battery. The battery performs surprisingly well, considering I used quite a lot of full power during the midday. Both the power and white balance is pretty accurate and stable, which helps minimize my time in post-production. In this case, makes it easy to compose multiple images to ensure the safety of the model.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to follow Godox social media for more fun videos. This is Aries Tao. I will see you the next time.
All right. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, guys. This is Aries Tao with Luke.
Yes.
I'm the KO, and great to see you guys. Today we are going to share about AD1200, this nice toy. We're going to talk about my shooting experience with Luke. Obviously, he's the one who takes care of the light, position, powering. I'm just clicking the shutters. And even though we're going to talk about AD1200, as you guys can see, we have the full range here. We have the 860, the hot shoe flash, AD200, AD300, AD400, AD600BM, and AD600Pro here. So any question is welcome. All right, let's, without further ado, let's get started. Let's screen. Let me just share screen. All right, good. All right. Should I present mode? Cool. So here's we actually spent the day there, right? With amazing model Maria. So she's going to she's doing her personal trainer certificate. So she will soon become a personal trainer as well as a nutritionist. And the main area she's focusing on is Bondi Beach. I'm sure lots of you know this. So we decide, says, you know, why don't we just go around the area, shoot, you know, where she's going to do her workout, and this will be some great marketing material for her. And meanwhile, because she's mainly rather than doing gym, bodybuilding, she's mainly focused on outdoor training. So it's gonna be a great opportunity to try AD1200Pro on the location as well. So that's the original idea. So basically, when we have a chat, we had a chat with Maria about the ideas. So she's talk about, you know, rather than going to the gym, you don't really need to gym to build your bodies. You can train yourself anywhere with your body weight, with a rope, with running. And I thought, oh, okay, that's great matching with Godox AD1200. To be honest, the last couple of months was extremely difficult for me personally. I'm sure for you, lots of you guys too. I never mentioned about this, but if it's not our, you know, landlord as our local government support and funds, I wouldn't be able to keep my studio. So lots of time I was wondering, say, what if I lost my studio? I wouldn't be able to do any studio shots. And what can I do? So here's, I'm sure lots of you guys are experiencing the same. So here's what I thought, because if you have a studio, I'm sure you can use AD400, AD600. You guys see me shoot with AD300 as well. But if it's outdoor, you have lots of ambient lights. The sun could be quite strong lots of times, especially in the noon time. And this is a nice toy to kill all the ambient lights, in a sense. So you can transfer anywhere to be your studio, to be honest. So just like what Maria was thinking, so anywhere can be your gym. So anywhere can be your studio with your creativity. So that's the original thinking. Feel free to add.
Yeah, that's it. You're going well at the moment.
Let's see if there's any questions. Okay, so here's some question coming. Just hang on there for a couple of seconds. Yep. All right. Luke, do you want to address that question?
So this is from, is it Zayed? How you pronounce it? Sorry if I've gotten your name incorrectly. Which is best for the Octa outdoor portrait shoot? So I guess he's asking what sort of Octa would be good for the outdoor, using outdoors. And then he's going on to ask whether should we use the 85 or the 120. I'm partial to both, to be honest. That's me. I don't know about you. I guess, first of all, it's going to be how we carry the equipment. From then carrying to also the wind, like we haven't touched on yet, and I'm sure we'll touch on a bit later, this particular shoot that you're looking at, or the current slide at the moment. What was that? Bondi at 5 o'clock in the morning, extremely freezing cold and blowing a big south, big southerly.
I think I was crying there.
Yeah, I think, yes. And so we only had a 42 centimeter beauty dish on this particular shot. And myself holding that, like the AD1200 with the 42 centimeter dish, it was still becoming quite a large sail. So I guess to answer your questions, Ed, would be that depending on the weather conditions, what you can carry, I'd start to even consider, I'd look at a 120. I like a bigger, softer box, like Softbox myself.
Yeah, cool. So for me, I think, well, it depends on how much power you have, right? Because if you have lots of power to waste, go for 120. That's easy. And that's another factor. And if you are using something like AD200 or AD300s, and think about the larger the light modifiers that might cut down your stop even further. So that's something to take consideration into. Here's a quick question from
Lucky.
Yeah.
So AD200 Flash, which is the best softbox? So again, this is probably, we might be seeing, this might be a bit of a recurring theme tonight. What's the best softbox? I guess, well, AD200, what are we going to need modifier-wise? Oh, sorry, equipment-wise. We'll need the probably S2 bracket. And then that means we can put any of the Godox, boxes on there. But again, we're talking power. So then we'd either have to high-speed sync, wouldn't we, or bump our ISO up with a 200-watt second head. So I'd probably think maybe about a 70 sort of centimeter, that sort of range. 65 centimeters sort of shallow softbox or something like that would be quite nice. Yeah.
I think for me, depends on the weather, right? Because if it's cloudy day, you can go for 1.8 meters. It doesn't matter. Like if it's sunny day, you have, balance the sun. That's where you should really think about how strong the sun is, where the sun's setting. It's winter or it's summer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the quick answer is it depends on the weather.
That's it.
All right. So let's continue. Luke, do you want to talk about this one?
Well, as you can see, the very talented, very strong upper body strength of the model, to climb this rope. What was it? Something like 7 meters, 8 meters. She was getting up to in the air. Just pure strength. I was actually up on the cliff above, hanging out the AD1200 about 3.5, 4 meters out off a large stand. And shining the light down, and then obviously you were down on Aries was down on the ground. You were 7200 or something like that lens? Yeah. And shooting. So you can see the before shot. Obviously, we had the nice sunrise, that really nice sort of color just before the sun had peaked over the horizon. But obviously, we can't see the model. We can't see the rope. Look at the rock face. There's no depth, no definition, no color. So obviously we had to bring it light in. this is where the AD1200 really started to become, the tool that we needed for this particular job. So
I think one thing with AD1200, which makes it really easy, is that I had another discussion with Luke the other day. If it is pretty heavy, but most of weight is on the battery pack. So the head itself, it's quite light. To be specific, the weight of this is sitting somewhere between 8300 and 8400.
Yeah.
So it's quite light. So it's if you have a lighting assistant, then you have to have a really awkward position for the light stick to hang out of the rock. It's not so hard to use. And also remember, because the reading is actually on the battery, so your lighting, your assistant can confirm the power output if that's right channel all the time, rather than you come back, read the back of your battery, and and point it out. So it's quite convenient. It's quite a convenient light to use.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I think if you looked at Aries' video, you do see me and some of the behind the scenes shots, and the particular one where she's running up the hill. I'm sort of hanging out the side of a tree with just the head and a small strip box that we were running to get that sort of nice rim light going on. And what we probably spent 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I was holding that box a lot of the time. We couldn't actually physically stand because it was in bushland on a very steep hill. So the only option was being a human light stand to hold it out there.
Yeah. So nice. Let's move down to the next. So another thing I find is it's quite good with AD1200 is that the modeling lamp is quite powerful. It's 40 watts, right? Obviously, for previous image, you can see that modeling lamp actually helps Luke, to see where the light falls to help focusing. And I'm sorry. Because we're shooting the sunrise, we actually have to be on the location before the sunrise. You can see it's cliff there. It's actually quite dangerous to walk around the area in a sense. So it can be used as a torch, right? It lights a huge area. So we know where to hang the ropes, and Luke has a rough idea where the light should go. Should we use beauty dish, and should we add a grid on there or not? So the modeling lamp, I mean, all the lights has modeling lamp, but the more powerful, obviously, it's more useful, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Allows us to maybe even use a little bit for video as well. A bit of fill light for video.
Exactly. All right. Do you want to?
The question? Speed light photography. He was actually asking a question about if there's going to be an gives the option to get the latest updates through the Mac. So I think you actually probably, I'm assuming that we're talking about firmware, for example. Now there is actually a piece of software for the Mac on Godox's website. It's called the G3 software. Now it doesn't support some of the earlier flashes like the 600BM and some of the earlier triggers. They are PC only. But definitely like the V1 and so on, I know that they've got a Mac version of the software that you can update the firmware there. I guess the other thing is even contacting your local dealer that you purchased the gear from. I know here at KL, don't bombard our staff to update your firmware. Ask nicely, maybe even book in a time and we can actually do that for you here in Sydney. Unfortunately, with what's happening in Melbourne at the moment with their restrictions, please don't go and call the Melbourne staff. One of our states, for the people that are around the world, has just gone into a lockdown as of today. So when Melbourne gets back up and running, those guys will be able to help update firmware as well.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So let's continue on our topic. It is a big battery, come with original package. So I don't think you would be able to use them as a carry-on luggage. But there is a separate carry-on battery. It's called WB1200 battery, so you can carry on flight. And also, the whole pack comes with, if you watch my video, you know the whole, it comes with a nice package. It's in the luggage size, so you can easily carry them on to your luggage and fly somewhere for destination photo shoots.
Correct. Right? Yeah, so I think the battery is the 5200 milliamp battery, and this one's a 2600 milliamp battery. That's the travel one. Yeah, and then also I guess we can even talk about the mains power adapter that you can turn this in. So again, like the AD600 and the AD400, there's actually a mains power adapter for this. So you take the battery out, and then this allows you to connect up to 240 volt or 110 volt wall socket power. And yeah, didn't you know that?
I didn't.
Oh, there you are. I taught you something new tonight. So I guess more versatility as well. If you've got batteries on charge and you're in the studio, then yeah, why not use mains power?
All right. Let's go for the next one. Here we go. So basically, I think lots of people will wonder about the mounts, right? Because it's power mount. So basically, with all bigger heads, it's power mount. Obviously, it adapts to all your existing. It's most commonly used mounts, so you can adapt into adding existing Godox products or third-party products, which is quite convenient to use. And when we were shooting there, it's actually quite far from the subject. We're about 6 meters from the subjects. So the power output actually give us a lot of wiggle zone in a sense to help illuminate the subjects. Did we have a grid on the beauty dish?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we ran the 42 centimeter Godox with the grid on that. The dish. So you can see that's myself up on top of the escarpment at Bondi, and then you can see roughly the girl or the model, I should say, she would climb up the rope, because I guess that's the other thing when you're talking about that range of the power is that as she starts climbing, you're going to start taking photos. So take it. When she gets to that main point, you've already got her illuminated, you've got your focus locked in. So that's the other thing is, Aries was tracking her up the rope, making sure everything was right. So
I didn't mention that actually in the video because we obviously have only 5 or 6 minutes limits with the video. But I find the recycling time it's actually quite important for this kind of photography. Obviously, to climbing up the rope takes lots of strength and energies. To rather than have a static shots, I keep on asking to climbing up. If you notice in the video that when you climb a rope, you can't just make sure you have a profile towards the camera, because there's wind. You actually keep on swinging like this, right? So it's very hard to get a shot. What happens is I just burst shot, right? I just continuous shot, ask her to keep on climbing, continue shoot, just shoot maybe 30, 40 images with one round. Just, there's always one or a couple of nice images coming out of there. For the safety purpose, obviously, I don't want to keep her up there for half an hour. So recycling time, that's what I'm saying. It's quite important. In that sense, if you use AD300, maybe you have to use full power, then the recycling time could be like 2 seconds. When she climbs around, it takes about 15 seconds or 20 seconds. You will have like 8 shots. But with AD1200, you can easily have 30, 40 shots. That's no problem. So it helps you quickly nail the shots, right? Or you give you more options in when you're cutting through the images. You might just find some nicer images. That's something I would like to share with you guys. So that's another images.
I guess while Aries is sort of scrolling through. This, you can see that she's changing angles, and it was literally the wind was causing the model to turn around. It was an extremely windy day. So all of a sudden, she started maybe on this particular side of the rope, but then by the time she was at the top, she was on the side facing me, and then away, and then she had to try and wiggle around and cause the rope to twist around again to get where Aries needed her, and it was extremely hard job to do. Hats off to her. It was incredible.
And then, of course, when you go to a location, I guess pre-visualization is pretty important. I always have this pre-visualization, she's climbing up with a silhouette sort of shots, lights coming down, and also you have to think about, it's for her branding, right? It's not about the rocks. It's also about to show the location so people know where she is. She's working in Bandai area, so we have to kind of show the location. Number one, it's good to tag in the Instagram, so people will say, oh, there's a wall image there, and people will notice her Instagram. And also, it will give some background information for her as a personal trainer, so people would know, oh, that's the area she's focused on working on. If I go there, I might just going to be able to train with her. So that's another idea. That's why we had a photo shoots like that. One more thing to add is that it's quite intuitive system to use with the battery, especially when you're hanging the lights in awkward position, right? Because if you're hanging your lights 3 meters in a 3 meters light stand, it's very hard to read the power. Sometimes your lighting assistant, because I was so far, the trigger is pretty accurate. It works 100% of the time. It's just OCD you develop. You want to I was keep on communicating with Luke. I'll say, what's the power now? What's the channel? Because sometimes you could accidentally click the channel and stuff like those. And with the reading parameters on the battery, because we leave them on the ground, it's actually quite easy to read. Even on the screenshots, we can see the channel, we can see the group, we can see the power, and we can even see, the T value, right? Yep, exactly. The T value. So it's quite convenient for you as a professional photographer to make a decision, especially when do you want to do high-speed sync, or if it's dark enough, you just want to make sure it's 1 out of 200. You want to use the color mode. Yeah.
I guess the other thing with the T value as well is that's going to let people know the freezing motion that we're talking about in the flash, so the range. So if you have you covered that before at all?
No.
What, the T value? Did you want to cover a little bit of that, I guess?
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so I'm happy to talk about it. So in flashes, we always talk about freezing action, I guess is the easiest way to think of it. And most flashes themselves can the flash duration, the tube itself has a speed that it can do it. So you might see some flashes where they'll say flash sync speed or another terminology, and they'll say maybe 1 over 220 or 250 or 500 or 3000. And that's essentially how we're freezing that action. So I know with this flash, do you know what the specs are for the T value at all?
You can tell us.
I can tell you because I've actually, had it here. So it can go from, I guess at full power, it would be 1 at 220. 220. 220. And then I'm going to say at like 1 over 256 would be 10,860. So it's got quite a large range. So that can actually help you, again, if you're shooting fast-moving objects, maybe a bike rider or a car. you know, you might say, well, I need full power. Well, full power will give you a much slower flash duration. So you might have to then start replanning your shot or modifier to then go up to a much higher speed, you know, flash duration to really freeze that crisp, nice action, which I think we'll show some of that a bit later on with her jogging.
All right. So let me just move on to the next slides, and look, maybe you can ask
a question.
Answer the question.
So, so Vanessa, so which lights are these? Sorry, I've just tuned in. That's perfectly fine. We did start, you know, about 3 minutes earlier. It's the AD1200. We're actually not just talking about the AD1200 with, I guess, any of the Godox products tonight. And also a little bit further up, there was, Miguel. Sorry if I've butchered your name again. He's asking if he needs to try this flash. So we were having this conversation earlier today. We actually, at KL Australia, I can't say about the rest of the worldwide partners, we've actually got this in our hire department. So again, for the people in Victoria, going through lockdown, yes, you're not going to be able to get access to it for probably some weeks. But for the people here in Sydney...
Sorry, Jacinta.
Yeah, Jacinta and Nikki and the girls down there. But once you guys come out of the other side, then we'd definitely be able to help you out and show you this equipment and take it for a run.
So basically, here's another angle. I was just as close to the edge of the rock as possible and shooting top down. The reason for this angle is to be able to show a bit seascape, which is nice. And across the ocean, you can see there's some building there. That's actually Bandai Iceberg. That's a nice iconic place of swimming pool of Bandai. And people actually were around the area would easily recognize it. So it's good for her branding in a sense to show a bit context where she's climbing the rock and attract the people who's, you know, she's an influencer, so attract the people who's around the area to maybe just follow her and to be her potential, to be her future potential customers, right?
Yeah.
So so you know what? Sometimes 70 to 200 works. Sometimes I guess in a sense, you know, ultra wide angle also works. Carrying case. Because it's with you. Do you want to talk about it?
It's with me. All right, I like this. So the actual AD1200 comes with a backpack.
Yep.
And also inside that backpack, you'll have your head and then the case itself, but then also a shoulder carry case. So that backpack is more for sort of transportation, getting to the location before setup. That actual backpack as well, sorry, I should say, it's a roller case. So you can have it either which way, pull this out, sling this over the shoulder or over your assistant's shoulder, or even if you're a one-man person, you can put this on the C stand and use it as a bit of a weight.
Like a sandbag.
As a sandbag, definitely. So that sort of shot that you were showing before, that was me carrying it around. You can tell I'm a lot bigger than Aries. So for this, you know, I'm used to carrying heavy equipment and carrying it around for the most of the day. It was, it didn't really faze myself personally, but I could see other people, put it in a carry case, hang it on the light stand, and
I guess carry case in a sense is important, especially when you're doing a shot. Did you guys read? If you guys can see that, you know, you will notice that the fan is actually on site. I used to have, I think 7-8 years ago, I used to have other brands. I don't want to name the brands. What happened is it's just come like that straight away. When I was shoot, you know, a couple of years ago, I like to shoot the moving wave stuff. The kind of you know, it's kind of my signature shots. And all of a sudden, that's huge wave coming up. That was with me, and the wave comes over the battery starts to smoke. And all of a sudden, well, one shot, you kiss your battery goodbye. So I guess the carrying case is actually quite good because all of a sudden, if there's a wave or some raindrops and some sand, it prevents all those things to destroy your generator.
Yeah,
that's good. So it's something nice to have. Something nice to have. Hi, Bruce. Yeah.
Yes, I saw Bruce's comment.
Yeah.
Hello, Bruce. The other thing is with a lot of, when you start talking this sort of power, like an AD1200, the capacitors do, or if they weren't ventilated properly, they do start to get quite warm. So this is what Godox has designed with the pack, is actually allow that ventilation to help, because I don't know if people out there in the community have seen studio flashes when they've worked them too hard, they start to go slower. Why? Because the capacitors can't dissipate that heat. So they go into a bit of a protection mode. So yeah, definitely this didn't have a problem with overheating on that extremely cold day.
So here's another photos. We decided to do some close-up because end of the day, when you do shots, it's always it's like, even with doing photos, it's a series of image that to be her portfolio. It's not only about, showing the environment, like climb the rope. It's wall, right? Yeah. It's good to have a wall. It also needs to tell a story and tell who she is. And another wow factor, I guess, or how we distinguish herself from the other people is she has these amazing apps, right? Yeah. And we need to showcase the app. And that's why I think Luke and me, we had a discussion. We decided to use Beauty Dish, because Beauty Dish, it's sitting somewhere between Softbox and a bare bulb, right? Yeah. So it's kind of harsh, soft hard. It's somewhere between hard and soft lights. Yeah. So it would be nice to bring out the texture and contour of her apps, yeah, to have a nice, strong, defining highlights and shadows. Yeah. That's why what we were trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So I guess that's probably the thing, is that normally when we think feminine, we tend to think soft, yeah, light, and I guess we're talking fitness, so it is we're wanting that sort of bit more masculinity to come through. Also, that the work that she's done to get those abs and the whole body, the arms, we're talking, and that physical strength. Yeah, you want to definitely show that through. So having what really, let's say, 180 centimeter or a really big soft light.
Pastel look, yeah, wouldn't suit.
Yeah, which either then would have meant more work in post-production, I guess, wouldn't it? Yeah. It would have meant that more airbrushing back in. So
it's too much work.
Too much. Yeah, try and get it as much as right in camera. So dish, but then I think a smaller Beauty Dish would have been too contrastier or that. So it is sometimes, having those decisions a bit like, I think we had a discussion for a couple of days beforehand about the time of day, the light, where the sun was going to be, throwing around ideas on what boxes would be better. I think, we even considered like maybe I think it was like an 80 centimeter soft box without the diffusers on it, and just the grid only. Yeah, but I think we ended up, the Beauty Dish was the better call.
Yeah. I guess everybody has a different recipe because everybody cooks their lasagna differently.
Exactly.
It's the thinking process we want to share with you, and you guys can choose whatever works for you. I think another reason we choose to go Beauty Dish is Beauty Dish is safer because there's wind, right? When you have a collapsible softbox, it tends to be more risky if the winds come over and it's kind of shaky. Beauty Dish obviously is more rigid against the wind, and I think that's one of the
reasons it was a deciding factor as well. Yeah.
So there is a question.
Yeah, so Cedric is asking, how many consecutive flashes can it do at the lowest power setting? I actually don't know 100% of this error. It kept up with you.
Infinity?
Hopefully we'll see, because I know there are a couple of people online helping answer some of the questions.
Okay.
It really did. The pack was pretty much next to me for most of the day, and Aries was going a bit machine gun at some points, and it was keeping it up, and you weren't at the lowest power. I know you were up.
With lowest power, I know it's go down to 1 out of 256.
Yeah.
On the day, we didn't use 1 out of 256 because it's too low. I did use one of 1.2 and 1.28. I was burst shooting. That's no problem at all.
Yeah, it was really, I think you're sort of hovering about like 164, 132.
Yeah.
I should have been taking photos to really sort of see, because I have noticed that some people have wanted to know your power settings before. I think it was sort of that 164, 132. I don't even think we really got up higher than.
I'm not sure what kind of camera, Cedric, are you using? I'm using Sony a7 III.
Yep.
I guess when you use 128, like I don't want to, oversell this, but 1 out of 28 is a safe call for Sony high plus.
Yep.
Sort of burst shooting.
Yep.
So if you want to do some consecutive image, which is faster recycling time, that's no problem at all.
Yeah, yep. Definitely.
All right. So after the sunrise, we were it was cold.
Yep.
It was very cold. So we went to have a nice breakfast, hot and warm, nice meal.
Yep.
And then we went to a park, actually quite close to the Bondi Beach as well, because that's where she usually that's the workout. With this shot, because we had Beauty Dish, we want to try something else. We want to try, maybe in this case, a bit soft or more ideal, rather looks very almost like ideal natural lights. Does it make sense? So the nicest overcast day, but with the highlights on her bone structure as well as the abs. That's what we're aiming through. So we use umbrella because umbrella delivers soft light comparing with Beauty Dish, and we further add a diffusion layer that will further soften lights to mimic the natural lights. And here's the outcome. If I don't tell you, if I don't tell myself, I wouldn't think it's from a flash. I guess in a sense, in this case, AD1200 would be something nice to have. Number one, bear in mind that with umbrella, of course, because it's bouncing lights, it cut down further stop comparing with softbox. And because we have further diffuse light from a diffusion layer there, that will further cut down the lights, right? So you will lose lots of stops by using multiple diffusion layers. I think that's fair, right? To achieve this soft look, and then basically you need high-speed sync. And you need fast recycling time for her to jumping around to quickly capture the moment. So I guess AD1200 will be really nice to have, especially you're doing a professional shots. You want to get it done while she's in this high interval intensity training mode, because nobody lasts more than 20 minutes. That's the idea. So so that's the soft lights, and that's HIIT vs fast recycling time. I think that would sort of answer Cedric's question as well. I think I was using somewhere between 1 out of 64 till 1 out of 32. That's the power we're looking at. So if you're on a sunny day, on a shade, you'll try to do this kind of natural light look. You don't need lots of powers. 1 out of 32 or 64 will be good.
The power. I think you've got a slide a little bit further on that shows the sequence of the shots of going through the jumping.
I did. I'll just quickly show them that.
Oh, there you are. See there. There you are. So there's some rapid sort of shots going through from the beginning of the leap or the standing still sort of shot, getting it up to that middle shot. And through these shots, her hair is very extremely crisp. So it's not, it's very hard to detect the movement. I know we've gone through in Lightroom to have a look at that, where it was freezing, the fine parts of her ponytail, really stopping it in action.
So I guess, look, do you reckon people probably would ask, do you reckon people will get away with 8600 or 8300?
They can. I guess it would be there. It would be depending on the day, as in how bright, because we're still quite bright. Yes, we were double diffusing. Depending on the day, the modifier, and that. What would probably happen though would be at the higher end of the power of the AD600.
Yeah.
So therefore, that would start to affect our recycling time, especially on the AD300. Again, would be a bit higher. We're sometimes only talking a stop of light, but that can affect from going from maybe half a second through to a second in delay. And I guess that's the same thing with speed lights, is that you could sometimes achieve this with speed lights, not 100% all of these shots, but like that one where she was climbing up the rock, we couldn't do that with a V1. We'd have to have like at least probably 12 V1s. And I think the weight of that hanging off the side of the thing would be a lot more than one of these guys. And also a lot more expensive, yes. But yeah, it would be definitely, AD600,
I think we're talking about efficiency here, right?
Yeah.
Because if this series of shots, it's almost self-explanatory. If you use 8600, you lose a bit of recycling time. You might just get out of 2/3 of the image, right? Which 2/3, it depends on your luck. So you might need to shoot again. With 8300, you're cutting down 2 stops, right? Because it's 300 watt vs 1200 watts. The recycling time might be doubled or even more than that. So which means you are going to get less than half of the image. That's efficiency. That's efficiency. Right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
So it depends on whether 1200 is suitable for you. It depends on you. Right?
That's it.
And if you're just shooting there, people standing there, do a pose photo, then no worries. I think either 8600 or 8300 would be able to do it. So that's the photo. That's why the time is the most valuable thing, efficiency.
The efficiency, definitely. And I guess that's the other thing. It comes back to a point that we sort of said earlier, that here in Sydney and when Melbourne get back up and running, that higher. So there are times if you're planning a gig that you might say, well, say like this, if we're trying to recreate what Aries had already gone through, again, I've got to spend a whole day shooting. I need to go from here to here to here. I need to have a range of shots. You might already have an 8600 and an 8300 in your setup. You might already have some of the lighting modifiers already. I know someone hasn't asked it yet, but we might as well cover that question, which is the 8600 BM. So the non-pro, there was a Y cable. We could buy the Y cable. We had to buy 2 of these, the Y cable, and then we had an AD1200, but the cost was, from memory, it was close to this anyway. It didn't come with the bag or the shoulder strap, and the recycling time wasn't this. And the other thing was that, if people have been following this product, the ring flash, you can't do the ring flash with this. The AD600, yes, we can have the remote head, but we don't have the ring flash as the option, and we don't have that Y cable to get it up to 1200 watt seconds. So I think, plan the shoot and with the efficiency in mind, and it's still.
Yeah, that's why I said, for everybody, it's kind of different because are you cooking sushi or are you cooking lasagna? Then what sort of flavor you're trying to obtain, and what's your style shooting? Are you burst shooter, or you're just kind of doing the pose, right? You don't mind doing every single shot slow down to get the look you want. It depends. Are you sports photographers or are you kind of fashion or editorial? So I think what Luke said is to offer you different choices. And you have to decide for yourself. Right?
Exactly.
Here's a question. Let's say I have a big umbrella with diffuser, another diffuser. What that make? A little umbrella with large diffuser, don't soft the lighting.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, sure. Go.
So probably people have read it on the screen. So they were asking Aries. I see you using the big umbrella with a diffuser and another diffuser. What would that make? Like a little umbrella, large diffuser. not big enough soft light. I guess what he was asking was that
he said the large umbrella vs a small umbrella. Is that the question?
I think it was actually why did we double diffuse?
Double diffuse,
yeah, like we use the rapid essentially just what was it, the skylight rapid, and then diffusing again the umbrella. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Julio, think about it in that way. Think about we are trying to mimic the natural light. A bare bulb top down will mimic the midday sun, right? You don't want the midday sun because it's harsh and create lots of shadows and black area under your eyes and stuff like those. So that's why people think cloudy day is more ideal day for photo shoots, because the cloud, think about the cloud as a diffuser to soak the lights, right? The umbrella with a diffuser, it's like put a cloud up there. So the cloud thickness or the cloud coverage, it's almost like 40%, right? But what if you want a full cloudy day? How do you able to do that? That will be by double diffuser. So think about umbrella with a diffuser, 40% of cloud coverage, but if you double diffuse it, it becomes 80 or 90% of cloud coverage. All we're trying to do is try to mimic an ideal light situation. For this case, I want to mimic a full cloudy day light, and here it is, with less contrast, or almost people will see, oh, it's a nice natural light or ideal natural light photos, but can never be achieved by natural light in a sense. So here's what I was trying to do, Julio. So that's why I use double diffuser. Yeah. And it's just fun because with AD1200, I have lots of power to play around with. Yeah, exactly. All right. So after that, do the natural light look, we were trying to do some fun running sort of photos. Rather than look purely natural light, we want to look more editorial, more like a magazine kind of look. To be honest, we were kind of, because we did lots of setups and we were kind of behind the schedule. So I was just kind of hope I can quickly get that done and dusted. So I use ETTL basically, because she's keep on moving backwards and forwards. There's no point to use menu to be accurate with the power output. And here's the outcome. Yep.
So how did we light that, Aries? Can you remember the equipment that we used?
Look, can you tell us?
So it was actually two AD200s. They were a strip softbox. We had a grid on them. I was sort of tucked up in the top left hand of screen, holding the head not on a light stand. And then we had at the bottom of the incline or the hill was the another strip softbox. So that's why you can see that there's a very thin beam of light sort of going down the track. It's not falling too much on the forest, or let's say the ground cover, and the trees in the background. So once we were able to work out that sort of angle, we're able to produce that sort of shot there.
So here's somebody says, too expensive for newbie. Would you recommend this for newbie?
Look, I probably wouldn't start with. I wouldn't start with an AD1200. It's a bit of power in there. I'd probably AD200 V1, that sort of style. But again, higher. Depending on where you are in the world, would be that if you can find them for higher. Once you get a little bit of skill level up, then
try before you buy.
Exactly.
Always try before you buy. And you might just find that you'll get away with AD200 or AD300.
Exactly. Yeah,
depends on the way you shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you look close enough, that's pretty sharp. Pretty sharp. So here's the next photo shoot. I guess in a sense, that's why lots of time we shoot natural light, and natural light looks pretty good and amazing because if it's bright there, it's flattering, right? Because
Yes,
her
exactly.
skin looks beautiful and it's nice color, nice, nice and subtle color palette. But what's the purpose of your shoot? Are you going to shoot light and airy the whole day, or are you going to shoot something for this particular amazing athlete to make her stand out of the crowd, right? Are you going to create a pace that in Instagram we have a location, right? When people tag location, that image could quickly stand out of the crowd, right? In a sense. So we create this image. We're not over. There is a sun coming from the background. If you look at the image from the left, you can see in the background the sky is already overexposed, and on the right we sort of kill all the ambient light because we can with AD1200. That's why I say anywhere if you want to do studio shots, you can, because it's more than enough power. It's almost like this is ISO 50 f13 sort of power we are looking at. So you can kill any ambient if you like. And Luke, do you want to talk about a light setting?
Yeah, so the particular light settings, I can't remember the exact power that we were on. Again, it wasn't at full power. But we did gel the light. So you can see that we had blue on would be the left of screen, and then it was an orange, or I think we double layered the orange from memory to get us that. Yeah, we double layered. So what we got was 2 gels, folded them over to get that. Again, they were just, I think, the standard reflector dish from memory with tape on them. Yeah. So all we had done was use the standard sort of protection cap dish, bit of low adhesion gaffer on either side. And sort of handheld them into location, and then we put them on stands and ended up with that shot. So I'm going to have a question for you, Aries. What created that smoke, besides me running around crazily? I
think it's a smoke ball, right?
Yeah, the smoke ball. So for me, it smelled like what was in a Catholic church, or that incensey sort of smell. It smelled very much like that, but the smoke went for so long. I've got to ask, where did you get it from? Because I'm sure people are going to ask it in the questions as well.
I would refer people to color smoke.
Color smoke,
that was I think with United States they have different company there, but with Australia we have color smoke, and you can buy different colors there. I use white because I use color gel to color the white. It will be easier. And I think last week Kilo used black, which turns out to be amazing too. So I'm going to try some of those.
Black smoke.
Yeah. And here's some little trick. If you don't use lots of color gel, but you do like this kind of color smoked photography, you can just buy the exact color you want. You can buy orange, you buy green, you can buy red. You just buy from them. And that'll be easier. That's probably
and they
easier.
burnt for quite some time. So, which allowed us, there was myself running around, waiting for the wind to die, because there was a bit of wind kicking up to the point where we got this little valley, you could call it little valley, that we're in, quite smoky. We're a bit worried about the fire brigade being called. But I think a lot of people that were around looking, I think were impressed as well.
They're very calm.
Yeah, everyone was very calm with it. But I think it's a different shot. It makes her stand out. It'll be something that when she puts it up on her Instagram, it will make people look at that sort of work.
To summarize in one sentence, do you see her abs in the left one? Do you see her abs on the right one? It's all about the light, which makes the difference, right? I mean, we be reminded while shooting portrait, right? The focus is the main subject, which is Maria in this case. So you have a good lighting that show her advantage. That's a good donut. And all the color smoke, that nice sprinkles over the donuts. On the top. All right. So that's light setup. You guys can see it. And then And then it's noon time. After we shoot the morning session, I think we take a short break. Then we go to somewhere around the Bandai area, to do some rock climbing sort of photo shoots. It's about 12 o'clock, so you can. It's winter in Australia. It's kind of sitting in the north. The sun is kind of in the north area, even in the noon time. So, and here's the fun shots. Here's the fun shots, guys.
Yeah. So I guess you can see that where the light was.
I think here's the fantastic space, place to address that question. Captain Fantastic.
Captain Fantastic. I'm satisfied with everything about the AD1200Pro, but if its weight can be a bit lighter, I know it's difficult. Well, I guess I was carrying around the pack and the head, because they are joined together via a cable. Yeah, I can see what you're saying there about it being lighter, but the head itself is extremely light. Especially being out on a boom pole, as you can see, like even in this shot with it, a lot of this is the weight here with the battery. You could even probably put in the 1200 milliamp battery. That would make it a bit lighter. Yeah, but Mr. Captain Fantastic, if you're around Sydney or Melbourne, please feel free, drop in, have a look, pick one up for yourself. And see how you go.
Because most of the time the battery pack is on the ground anyway, so it's almost the head, right? The head itself is actually lighter than 8400.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's sitting somewhere between 8300 and 8400. So it's not so hard. If you have an awkward position to hold the lights, it's actually not so bad, right?
Yeah.
For its power.
Exactly. Yeah.
For its power. Cedric, about the color temperature, I will address in about half an hour time. About half an hour time at the end. I'll talk about it. So you can create your own sound, right? From this image, like you can, because it's under shadow, we kind of want harsh sunlight to define her muscle definition and give this a nice noon, right?
Yeah.
Midday sort of vibe. So we actually create our own sound, and you can see that in the previous shots, I just read the first one on the left, it's a natural light. The one on the right, it's actually being created by AD1200. I just retouch out the light port, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice and easy. And here's another one. On the left, you will see that there's an image with natural lights. You see it's kind of flat, right? On the right, that will be the one with flash. I think I'm pretty sure we used Octabox. I will show you guys in the next image. And the hut on the sky, it's someone's doing flight. It's not photoshopped.
Yeah.
Just clarification. So you can see you want a softbox, right? Because she's a female, right? You want to show her. She has this beautiful tan skin. You want to show off that. But the modifier in the midday, you'll be struggling lots of time, to be honest. That's here, 8200 or V860 wouldn't do the job because you need a lot of power to balance the sun, and you need some extra power. You're looking at one stop or even 1.5 extra stop to be cut down to have a softbox.
Correct.
Because in this image, we use Octabox, that's softbox, right? That cut down some power, and we put on some gray to make it directional to help the muscle definition that further cut down some power. So that's why AD1200, this is a typical AD1200 sort of shooting scenario. And here's a light diagram you guys can see. You can see there's a light, on the top, and that's ambient sun, and that's Octabox. That's 85 or 90.
Yeah. I'm probably going to say definitely like on definitely sort of that bigger.
Yeah, on the bigger side, yeah.
Oh, we can't zoom in and actually read the product number on the softbox to find out. Maybe we can get back to them on that or find out what it is exactly. But one thing I was thinking of looking at your shop before, I might hear people say, why couldn't you use a reflector? Like a big reflector, like we're at the moment diffusing some light at the moment, but I don't think it would work. Imagine that's a big sail. How much light can we bounce back into that shot with a reflector instead of using a flash? That's my point. So if you go back to the slide, I don't think it would work. I don't think having a reflector being able to throw light into we just couldn't do that sort of shot. We need artificial light. A reflector would not cover that. And then especially being close to the beach, where you're normally out in exposed conditions, you'd either be taking a couple of 100 kilos of sandbags to try and keep the reflector on the ground, which would be a lot more weight than this, like the actual pack itself.
I don't think reflector would work anyway.
I couldn't see
if you guys pay attention to the top of the rock, you can see some of those highlight areas. It's a bit warmer. That's the midday sun, right? We kind of overpower the midday sun with even with a soft octabox as well as the gray down. Reflector will be nice for field light in case you will never be able to overpower the sun because you're bouncing off the sun. You're cutting down the stops. So we use 90 centimeters softbox with grid. And then that's sort of noontime photo shoots. After the noontime, we further move down to the I think we'll have some afternoon tea and have some lunch, and then we go down there to do the it's almost sunset because it's winter, right? Sunset's earlier, so it's about 4:23 there, and we start to do the shoots. One thing actually amazed me is the battery. It's actually amazing because I've been shooting for a whole day long, and the battery lasts like forever. It still has 2 bars left. So I don't, because with AD1200 I don't have to use full power output at all time. So I'm not but if you are the kind of full power output guy for whatever purpose you are using with AD1200, then there's a 500 flash. But if you are shooting in various outputs like 1 of 32, 1 of 4th, half, from time to time, then it lasts for a whole day. That's no issue. That's the message I've got in my photo shoots. So we were shooting between 6 o'clock in the morning all the way to 4 o'clock. Of the sunset. And here's the image. And that's with a 42-inch beauty dish.
Correct.
With a grate. I think it kind of perfectly mimics the sun. From the distance, you can see that there's a little area here. It's being kissed by the beauty dish as well, to in the same direction, as well as the sun, where the sun sets.
Correct.
Right, and it's nicely done. For the clarification, I didn't get a model to stand at the edge. She's actually standing on the top. There's a new function in Photoshop. You can actually, I think it's patch moving tool.
It's like
exactly, it's just move the model kind of down there, and for the safety purpose, of course. So here's another shot. I think that would answer Cedric's question. That's the output. It is a composite. We actually shoot her a couple of inches backwards away from the edge, because it's quite windy, number one. Number two, if she jumps off, it is quite high. That's all for obvious safety issues. So we use burst shoot in that case. I think I use 1 out of 32nd or 1 out of 16th. I couldn't remember to be exact. So I use burst shoot. I use color temperature mode to control to control the white balance of the bulbs. So that actually balance out with every single shot. I don't have to go back to rebalance it. With color temperature, I think it's always the Godox forte because they control, even with the color temperature mode off, you find it is very easy to control the color temperature. It's not a huge variation there. All of a sudden it goes cold, all of a sudden it goes warm. It's kind of stays in a consistent way. In this case, it's particularly important because we shoot a series of images, and then because I'm moving her body from somewhere there to the edge of the rock, and the rock is actually lit in a separate image, if that makes sense. With that consistency, that reduces your work in your Photoshop, so that you put everything together, it all looks nice and natural and all works together. That's all. Yep.
With that, how much the color temperature control? How much does it affect the recycling time? I sort of roughly know the answer. It's very small, minimally, but
I didn't really notice.
Yeah, you didn't really notice. Well,
yeah,
I found a couple of people have said the same thing before. That if you turn on that color stable mode, I think it will be a fraction. It will depend on the light, obviously. Like an AD1200, it's not going to have the
we're
same
using 1 or 30 seconds output.
But still, it's again depending on that light and where you are, power and output shouldn't affect it that much.
I guess if you're shooting with products, and you have a multiple light setup, you really want to control the color temperature.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's where you want to use color temperature mode. And with outdoors, lots of time you can get away with it because even with, as I said, even with the color temperature mode off, it's still pretty accurate.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I guess that's it. Doing product photography, they're not going to be running up a hill.
No worries, Cedric. I hope hopefully that helps. Answer your question. So that's pretty accurate color temperature. Yep.
All right.
So
go. I'm just looking through for questions here. We've done the color temperature. No, I think we're not too bad.
Did you address all the questions?
A bit further back, Danny had asked if they're planning to create a high-speed energy packets for frozen liquid. Is to stay with good T1. So not 100%. I know you're sort of saying is Godox planning to create a high-speed energy packet. Well, I guess this is
that's
high speed, but I'm wondering if he wants to go faster for frozen liquids.
He doesn't need to, because if it's frozen liquid in the studio, then all you have to worry about is T plus 0.1, right? Just use small output. Right. Just use small power output, and that will do the job.
Okay.
Small, 1 of 28th, 1/28th, 1 of 256. The T is I think out of 10,000 or 20,000. That will be, and because itself it's it's big power. You can easily freeze any sort of liquid if you want. Any other?
All right.
Is there any other question we should answer?
No, I'm scrolling through back more questions. There we go. Feel free to ask any questions, guys, out there.
I guess, in a sense, look, it's not the most it's not the lightest light from the Godox range, but with great weight, that's not great weight, you get so much power. With so much power, there are lots of things you can do with it. That ways, you can easily, come back the sunrise. You can easily come back the sunrise with modifiers.
Yeah.
You can get away with this with 8600 in a sense. It's just less efficiency. If you want to burst shooting in a short amount of time, then this is the way to go. If you're not worrying so much about recycling time, and because she's posted there rather than climbing a rope, I guess you can get away with it. Then 8600 and even 8400 was probably similar to full power, half plus power you can get away with.
Well, I'm actually going to think of one thing though. 8600 and that out 3 meters out on a boom pole or out on a really long boom. I think the 8600 would actually weigh way more than this head itself. So, and this was down on the ground. Now, it's not out yet, but there is an extension cable that Godox have got coming. I don't think we've got a light stand that can go longer than the 3 meters there. So I think I'd probably still lean towards the AD1200 if I was booming that far out.
Exactly.
How heavy is the AD600? That's about 4 kilos, isn't it?
I think it will be double the weight of this at least.
Yeah. So, definitely if I was hanging it out that far, then definitely go there. So there is another question from Bruce Moyle. Hello, Bruce. How long does it take to charge the battery?
It's quite fast.
Quite fast.
Hours.
Do you want me to go and get the battery?
Yeah.
I'll go and give me a tick and I'll go and grab it. And also, replace some batteries.
I think in a sense that is efficiency important to you? If efficiency is important, go get AD1200. If it's not, it's just post photos, then get 8600, 8400, that would also work. Are you going to hanging out like what Luke said in the awkward position? Then if so, get the disc because it's easier to carry it around. If not, then 8600, 8400, you can get away with it, right? Especially on the coast on a very windy day. That's the idea. Moving down to the next shots. This kind of shot, you can get away with 8400, 8600. That's easy. That's no problem.
That you can do.
That you can do.
Yep.
That's easy.
I guess the 8600, you can put the remote. There is a remote cable head for that. So you, 8400, I don't think they have got a remote cable head. So definitely if you're using the 8600, I'd get the remote cable head.
Yeah.
So again, it sort of turns it into something similar to this, much lighter.
Yeah.
Especially booming. Yeah.
I think with 8600, 8400, you can get away with this too. That's no problem. But you will be struggling to have a faster recycling with double diffused layers and to try to capture so many shots in a relevantly short amount of time with fast recycling. That you wouldn't be able to do that, or you lose a couple of images. Do your own calculation, I guess, in a sense. Do you need it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Do you need it?
Yeah.
If you do, AD1200 will be a good way to go. You don't have to buy it to start with. You can just rent it to start with.
Well, depending on where the guys are, because we do understand that it's all, we're going out international at the moment, and people will watch this video later on. But if you can hire it in the country that you're in, then do it. Again, for the guys here in Sydney, you can see us here at KL in Sydney. Again, for the people in Melbourne, apologies for the moment. But once you guys come out of lockdown, then we've got a kit down here in Melbourne. I happen to know where there is where Bruce lives. Well, Bruce would have to freight one down to you. That one you'd need to talk to us about. Bruce has actually got there the remote head on the 600 is he nearly uses it every shoot. So there you are.
Yep.
You're already on the money. Yeah.
Do you have the close-up photo for this?
Okay. Did you send it to me? I don't think you did. Have you got Lightroom there? Oh, you don't have your external drive. No. Give me 2 ticks.
Yep, sure.
And I might be able to.
I just wanted to quickly show you guys how crispy sharp it is with high-speed sync. I think I airdropped to you.
You did drop it to me the other day. Let me just find it.
So let's see if I can quickly get all the images.
So do you want me to airdrop back, or how would you like me to get you the images?
Yeah, airdrop back would work.
All right, let's see if I can airdrop them.
That's just gonna be, so with this, it will be best. I'm not saying it's necessary, but it will be best. It will be make your life much easier with AD1200, because obviously you see with full body shots, the light is actually hidden behind the trees. It's actually relevantly far from the subjects, and she's keep on running. You are hoping for consecutive shots, right? And you want as much power as you can possibly get. So in that sense, AD1200 will be awesome.
Yep. I actually figured out there's another way I don't need to airdrop them to you. I can do this.
Accept, saving downloads. Yep.
Do you want me to, you can cut to my computer if you want.
No, it's all good. I will just quickly share here to quickly show you guys why we need fast recycling. I never show this to anybody, guys, so this is the first time.
Do you want me to,
sharing, share screen. No, it's all good. All right, you guys see it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. If you guys see, I know it's 720p.
It's low res. Well.
Yeah, it's low res. If you guys look at here, you can see it's crispy sharp, right? That's the importance about the high-speed sync.
Yeah.
So it will freeze the subjects.
Yep.
And look at her eyes. You can even see her eyelashes here, which is amazing, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's the flash duration that we're talking about, getting that ultra fast. Even coming out to the sort of back of the hair, like you can see the little flyaways, is that they're frozen in. That if we're at a lower speed, then that would have been a bit more blurrier. And now,
if you're doing studio shots, you see that's why in the 3 or 4 years ago, when people were doing the sports photography, lots of them were trying to do that after it's getting dark. Because even though it has a good T value to freeze the subject, which is so claimed 1 out of 10,000, which is great, but you have ambient light during the daytime. But however, with high-speed sync, that makes it possible to to freeze the subjects even with the natural lights going on, because I was using 1 out of 16,000, which is the sweet spot for me. So that's about the high-speed sync.
Well, did you want to cut to the overhead cam and we can?
Oh yeah,
if
sure.
if you want to, and then do you want to pass me the battery and let's
Here we go. Here's your battery.
Oh, thank you, sir. And now I think we're slightly out of focus. There, that's a bit better. All right. So I know you've had these on charge for a little bit, but there we are. All right, so did you want to take people through anything in particular on the pack, or
do you want to go?
Do you want me to do it? Okay, I'm happy to do that. So, geez, I feel like I'm running the show now. So,
end of the day, you stay with the battery for the whole day.
Yeah, well, look, this was on my shoulder for most of the day, so we've got a little bit of glare coming off the one of the lights.
To share that screen?
No, it should be. Oh, no, do that.
Okay.
Now, look at that technology. So I guess we can go. This is where our actual battery is. So eventually, it should be cutting to you. Has it not cut over to you at all? Oh no, that's fine. There's a lock. So this is the bigger battery. So this is actually coming with the bigger, I'm going to say what is it? It's a 5200 milliamp or a 187.2 watt hours. So you definitely can't fly with this battery. Let me just see if I can get it in shot a little bit more. You definitely can't fly with this battery. You'd have to, well, there's not much flying going on at the moment anyway with what our situation that we're all going through. So I guess it's going to be fine for the road trip thing. So it just sort of slots straight in. This is also where the mains power adapter would attach in, would take the battery out. Now, can you charge the battery inside the pack?
Never tried that.
I don't think you can.
No.
So I thought I'd just ask the question. So some people might ask that question, can we actually charge? No, the battery's got to come out. It's got a separate charger. So we'll come up to here. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the position a little bit right for the camera.
Can we try to adjust the focus a bit?
The focus?
Yeah, I think it's slightly out of focus.
All right, sorry, there you are. That's a bit better. Sorry.
Take a look.
All right, so this is our pin connections. So this is obviously for the remote head here. Then also there is a ring flash that will connect in to here. We can only have one head. We don't run two 1200 watt second heads on it. And then we've got our standard control panel, pretty much like any other Godox flash, like AD600, 400. The buttons are very similar. Got USB port for firmware updates, sync port if you still like using cables or having a cable as a backup. I haven't really needed to have with these heads, with a lot of them having a cable backup. I still put one in my camera bag, but I don't think I've ever pulled it out in the last 2 or 3 years. So generally it's quite nice there. All right, there you are. So AD300, if we haven't already seen, which way are we going there? That's the AD300 sort of size-wise to the pack. The pack, it's not that big. Let's see, AD400, again, probably. That's your sort of size-wise. Sorry, it's a bit off position there. AD400, AD300. Oh, you can't see, it's out of shot.
Let's just move the power so we can compare it to
300 and 400. Just to give you a sort of size for the people out there. And then 200 there. Sorry, I've got to look at the screen to actually figure out where we're positioning everything. So there's your AD200. No, leave the AD200 in there, I think is a good way of grabbing a sort of a size. I mentioned, obviously, you can see here the AD200's got the round head option on it, like the V1, which I think is a great sort of way of modifying this light here. Then, here we are, AD300, and lo and behold, camera decides to drop battery out halfway through. So that's a good timing.
One thing I want to add is that, let's just put this aside because this is more like a running gun. for shooters. If I'm doing weddings or I'm doing some, I'm rushing for the sunset, for the pre-weddings, I will use this. 8300, you start to go into the portrait zone, right? 8300 is something which is really fantastic for long wolf in a sense, because it's so light. With my peak design mirrorless bag, I can carry two Sony bodies with two 8300s with it, and I can pack, of course, the Godox mounts, because it's Godox mounts. It supports Godox modifiers like AD65W, which is smaller mounts, which is easier to carry around. So you don't have any assistance. You are thinking of just shooting a portrait with some softbox yourself. 8300 will be a great way to go. And the reason I keep on comparing because it's did you guys notice AD1200, even the battery has a lot of weight, but if we're comparing the head, it's very similar to 8300. It's slightly heavier, slightly, just tiny heavier. I think it's due to the handle. So if you have lots of awkward position, like hanging there, hanging off the rock, then 8200 would be really nice to give a try. I'm not saying you should buy it. I'm saying you should give a go. But this, you definitely need an assistant to hold the lights, because there's battery, and it will be a nightmare just to try to drag.
Yeah, I think you've got to plan.
Drag everything by yourself.
Yeah, I think you'd have to plan. If you were a one-man person, I think you would be planning your shots. Like I guess probably not the booming shots that we had over at Bondi, but the shots in the park, which is this, like where the smoke shot was and the running shot was. I think you could do that singly with someone, but you would be probably setting up half an hour before the model got there, getting everything sort of dialed in first. You know, the luxury of the human activated light stand is or voice activated light stand's a little bit different. But Cedric, that's an important decision when purchasing. What is the largest Godox you can travel with in a flight? We'll have to rent the unit if traveling, if need one. Well, Cedric, yes, but don't forget there is the smaller battery, the one that you can actually fly with. So I guess I wonder if you can actually take two on a flight, because I know when we're talking video VLOC batteries, I think depending on the time of year, I know at Christmas time, some of the people are getting pulled up with more than two 98 watt hour batteries. But I
think with this, I know as a fact, there's no problem with traveling this, because this is sharing the battery with 8200. It's a small battery. It's almost like a power bank for the battery. So that's no issue at all. I'm not entirely sure about this. Okay.
No, let's have a look. It's only 56 watt hours, so it's up to 98 watt hours. So I think that's the thing that we have to keep in mind, depending on, well, obviously with the pandemic, no one's really flying, but let's be honest, because if we were flying, there's no one really flying, that they'll check our equipment a lot more. And this is what I've heard from people in video at Christmas time before the pandemic, that the airlines were actually adding up people's lithium, how much lithium they had in their phone, their laptop, and so on. And this may change into the future. So, but currently, you would probably have to buy the smaller battery, fly with it. There would be no reason why you couldn't post the bigger battery or freight the bigger battery to your location before you got there, and you just have to hope that you made it.
If it's me, I would rent 8200, because it's a bit heavy on my back to carry, drag them around the airport. I'll bring 8300 with me, because it's lots of power, and the softbox is relevantly easier to pack in my luggage as well, because it's a Godox mount. But that's just my personal preference. Though.
Have you traveled with the AD400 before?
AD400, not really.
No.
Not really. If I need so much power, I'll probably just travel with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because it's definitely air compatible, and it says there, and I'll just use this.
We travel with that.
And we travel with that. Because it's 100 watts extra, rather than take one 8400, I would probably just take 8300.
Oh, you have more.
Yeah, and it's easier to pack in my. It's because I use Peak Design bag. It's smaller for the mirrorless body.
Yep.
But if you have a DSLR camera bag, then that would work too.
Definitely. Yeah. I think definitely carrying it around, and you've still got the the standard S mount on here. So it's not a Bowen's mount. Yeah. So I guess that's what
it's the same mount as
the AD300. So now, would you ever consider with your AD400 putting the bigger S mount type?
I'll just use my 8600 in that case.
That's fine. Yeah. So some people might ask that question on
if you want to use 8400 with Bowen mount, just get S2.
Yep.
S2 type brackets.
Yep.
That's the easiest.
Yeah. So definitely, I don't know if I think I was showing you the other day that there is I think it's the BD11 that attaches on here and then allows the AD400 rings to attach onto this. So if you were using, say, another branded modifier that wasn't a Bowen's type,
that's compatible.
That you're
got an
compatible.
option there.
Then rather than using the S-type mount, and it's the same ones that fit onto the AD400.
There is a question from Anderson. Oh, sorry, Andreas.
Yes, so Andreas is asking, are the fans in the head and in the pack on all the time, or only when there is danger of overheating? So I definitely noticed with the AD1200, the fan that's inside here was on all the time while we're shooting. I'm not 100% sure why Godox have done that, and I'm just because the LED light wasn't on, the modeling light wasn't on. I'm wondering if they were trying to do it to keep dirt out of the unit. So obviously, because they're going to understand that people are going to take this pack into like many locations. It's not just going to be in the studio. So, but the fans probably in a very extremely quiet environment, like where you're doing like those ASMR videos, you'd probably pick the fan up with a very sensitive microphone. But outdoors, definitely I didn't.
I barely noticed.
Very noticeable. We had the guys doing behind the scenes video, and they weren't complaining about the audio or anything there at all. So no, they were on all the time, definitely on all the time. But that could change as well in firmware, because Godox do listen to you guys out there. So they may bring a firmware update out where you could control the fans. Not saying they will, but they might consider that if there's enough feedback too.
So if there's no further question, should we?
Look, guys, we've been going for about an hour and a half.
Guys, ask question. Otherwise,
you've got, I'm going to say, a nerd of equipment. I like to call myself the geek of pretty much anything I can get my hands on. I try and understand it. Definitely, look, I was teaching someone the other day some lighting techniques on using their speed light, and happened to be some Godox equipment. And we were talking about the limits of the V1. And she was a particular wedding shooter, and she came to me with a shot and said, Luke, how do I recreate this shot? And we were talking about the limitations of the V1 and its recycling times. And then we were trying to figure out that, as you're saying, the efficiency. Do we go to the AD200? Do we go to the AD300? And so on, and working through that. And I guess that's the thing sometimes I'd try to encourage people to do is work through their shots, look at, pull apart a shot of a photographer and then realize, well, what am I trying to recreate? Like, I'm trying to recreate this shot, but let's say the girl climbing, or the model climbing. Well, maybe if it's just a practice shoot, you don't need to have 10,000 shots, or maybe that's an exaggeration, but you just need to get one or two good couples. So if your recycling time is going to be not up there as like the AD1200, you can still achieve that shot.
You can still get her hanging there.
Go, okay, now I know what I need to do it. But now if someone employs you to do a commercial shoot, you might say, well, their time's as valuable as my time. Well, maybe I have to hire an AD1200 or hire an AD600 if you've only got an AD300 and speed up your workflow. Hey, hires, you can hire it for a day.
It's a mathematic question, because if it's commercial shots, how much does it to spend on an extra day with a whole crew?
Yeah.
It's probably a way more expensive than purchasing AD1200.
Yeah,
right.
It could be, yeah. Or even just hiring it. So I guess that's the thing. Or the other thing is get your mate to buy one and then borrow it from him. So that's the other option. Yeah.
I guess we try to offer people options because we have different talks. We had a talk with Kilu. He's shooting with 8300. We had a talk with Ashley. She's choosing 8200 and V1 for her weddings. There's different recipes.
Yeah.
We give you options and you have to make a decision for yourself. Which one works for you? Which one speaks to you?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, yeah.
And go to, I guess you are in Melbourne. Sorry, it's closed.
Yeah.
But if you are in Sydney, welcome. Just come to the store, talk to Luke, give a try. If you want to try about the recycling time or high-speed sync, there's something, there's a background. You can quickly try something.
Yeah.
And that'll be easy. And then if you're still unsure, maybe rent before you buy.
Yeah, rent for right. Book up some time. Sometimes that's what I used to do with equipment. Was book up a day where I might have either done a TFP type of shoot or paid for someone's time, and then got out, planned the shots, allowed time for mistakes, but still had an intended purpose.
Do we have a rental unit for all of this?
I believe so. I'm going to say yes. Yeah, there is some gear out at the moment, so I definitely know. That's why the V1's not on display, because it's actually been rented to someone at the moment. But yeah, the AD300, definitely, it's something there that, come in, see the guys if I'm not in here. Look, we've got the guys, even though our Melbourne showroom is not going to be really technically open while the pandemic's on, or what's happening in Victoria currently at the moment, there's still going to be guys on email. We'll still have the guys on phone. We're still going to be shipping out while these lockdowns are happening. So if an idea comes to you, a question that comes to you, we always say, look, ask us the question, because we'd rather people ask us this question. Sometimes if we don't know, we'll go off and find the answer. We can also sometimes work that answer out as well. Or
for you.
Yeah, we go and power up the equipment, try and replicate that same problem or scenario you've given us to then, give you a feedback. A lot of us here inside our company, we all shoot or have shot for some time. So we do know the terminologies, we try, we can pull apart a shot sometimes and work it out what's needed for people. So and I guess we're going to talk about what's probably upcoming in the future with what you've been working on, or we're not allowed to talk about that?
Maybe later.
Oh,
but there's a ring flash.
So we might be doing something with the ring flash.
It's a nice toy.
It's a nice toy. Should we show them the ring flash, or are we going to hold off and show them that later?
Let's hold off.
We're going to hold off on that? Yeah, that's fine.
Keep it as some nice surprise.
Yeah, that's it. Well, there's a question from Christian. After using the AD1200, do you think you'll use it often? What's your favorite flash so far? So I've been following, or I've actually been sitting here in the comments for while you've been doing this series for Godox. I sort of know your answer to it. And you get asked this often. I think a lot of photographers get asked, what is your favorite flash? Can I
answer.
I think you're going to go say 8300 since you've had the 8300.
I would say that you are not entering a soul-binding relationship with a flash. Flash is a flash. It's not even car, right? I just use the right toy for the right scenario. I mean, if you're a run gun user, I will say if you don't use large modifier at all, I'll say 8200. If you on camera, use this one, use V1, right? This is not even V1, but use V1. If you're a run gun user, like I said, in the wedding, you don't have time to put a large modifier. You want to get a nice wow shots back flash. 8200 is way to go. Yes, 8300, it's probably my most frequent used item because lots of time when I shoot my pre-weddings, I do have some time, but I don't have the assistant. Or sometimes my makeup artist will be nice enough to help me to hold certain lights, but lots of time I expect the lights to be light and stand on itself. I use lots of large umbrellas. I use lots of softboxes. Then this works like a charm. But be reminded, those shots are more like static shots. I'm not asking a groom to climbing up a 20 meters tree, right? So that is a nice something to have with no assistant or only one assistant. Even your assistant is a female, she will be comfortably hold this because it's so light, right? For commercial shots, I will use AD1200 or AD600. That's or AD400. That's what I would use. That's what I use.
So you sort of tailor it to the shoot.
It's not soul binding relationship. That's like what I said.
Well, some of it, and I guess it's also like what you've got packed quickly. I guess is the other one. Is I've got a camera bag, so to speak, packed. I've got my lighting modifiers.
It works with my bag.
That's it. You can literally pick it up and go there you are, and know that you can still achieve the shot. As whereas I think if you think AD400 or even a couple of AD400s, you would. You might have them in a separate bag. So I guess it is.
I think it's all come down personal taste, right? Do you usually pack your lights separately, or you pack them in everything? You just carry them away. Do you have an assistant or not? Are you shooting wedding, pre-wedding? Are you shooting a portrait session? So Christian, it really depends. If I were you, I'll go down to the store with my bag, try that in my bag, see how it works, carry it on my hand. So you have a better idea. You have a better idea.
Well, I guess I could say the same. Agree with that sort of thing.
Should I answer? Do you want to answer that?
Oh yeah, Andreas. Will the AD1200 also work with fast shutter speed of the Hasselblad X1D? Note the leaf shutter system. I assume the delay of the wireless trigger might be an issue. Have you got
Hasselblad? No,
I know you don't have a Hasselblad. It could be. I'd have to try it and actually say, because they use the leaf system, which is in the lens. It's good question.
I'll come back to you next week.
We'd have to come back to you on that. Because it wouldn't be able to use the XT1 trigger Pro. I think we'd have to get the guys over at Godox. I'm pretty sure they've actually had a Hasselblad over there.
Maybe they drop them an email and ask.
Definitely. Sorry, I couldn't answer that one. Look, hopefully the team's still in the chat, so they might be able to answer there. But Cedric's got a question as well, the next one down. I have the Flashpoint R2 Nikon trigger. Is this trigger compatible with all Godox lights?
What's R2 trigger? I have X2T, X Pro.
So my understanding is the Godox flashes overseas in America get rebadged as Flashpoint.
That part I get.
So they may be rebadging the triggers too. So we have the XT2.
They call the R2?
They may be calling it the R2 Nikon trigger. So we are just doing a quick Google now for you, Cedric.
Flashpoint R2 trigger. That's X Pro 2.
It's X Pro 2.
X Pro 2,
So I'd be saying that I can't.
That works with all the lights here.
So I don't think. I think they're just putting.
Cedric, it works with works with V1, works with AD200, works with AD300, works with AD400, works with AD600, works with AD1200. That's the lights I have that I can answer for you. That's no problem.
So I think they're just putting in Flashpoint instead of Godox on the trigger. So
hopefully that helps.
If
there's no further questions, should we?
So I guess we should probably do a bit of a sign off, like subscribe to the channels. So if you're not already subscribe to Godox and KL, please do so.
We'll have a very interesting talk come back 2 days later on Wednesday.
So this Wednesday,
with pet photography.
With pet photography. Oh, where's the pet photographer person based?
Somewhere north.
Where's
Peter Sharp?
All right, there we are. So I know who that might be. I guess, yeah, like and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah.
For the people that are going into lockdown in Melbourne,
yeah,
our thoughts are with you. Please stay safe. And for the rest of us in the world, again, please try and stay safe. We've been trying to social distance.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to do with wide camera angles without making me look.
This is 2 tables.
Yeah,
by the way,
yeah. So we did measure. But yeah, guys, say thank you for joining us.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, and we'll catch
I'll see you guys 2 days later.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Thank you. Take care. Bye.